Part 91. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 910. The two little fairies have seen countless ascenders, and in their eyes, the ascendants are really not as good as the ants. Naturally, there has never been such a thing that the ascended person would bite them back. Besides, it's not just as simple as taking a bite. The body was in pain for an instant, and the immortal spirit on his body poured like a tornado towards the ascendant in front of him. The two little fairies were truly frightened. Their entire minds are now filled with endless pain, and there is no way to separate their minds to summon their companions. The pain of Yanj is worse than they have ever been. She endured the general pain of her body, and read the Falun Gong in her mouth, and guided these immortal spirits flowing in her body around her body. However, the immortal spirit that flowed in was too much, just like a majestic flood. Her consciousness guidance was completely a mantis arm blocking the car, but for a moment, the inside of the body seemed to be broken, as if under it will burst instantly. Fortunately, at this edge of life and death, the two little fairies finally couldn't help but fainted, and the fairy spirit in their bodies no longer continued to pour into the body of Yanj. Although Yanj did not burst into countless pieces, her physical condition is obviously not so good. If she eats more than once, she is like a deformed balloon being blown up. The flesh on her body has her own consciousness. A piece is blown up on this side, and another piece is recessed on the other side. The was screaming all the time, and his voice was sharp and high-pitched, presumably to keep the song clear in this way. After being rubbed by the little fairy in the blue skirt, Wei seemed to fall asleep. Even if the blue skirt fell to the ground, he didn't mean to hide in the arms of the blue skirt. As Yanj's body got bigger and bigger, the feather duster on her head got bigger and bigger, and the long green hair fluttered in the wind. It was a beautiful scenery. It didn't take long for several figures to appear out of thin air, falling around Yanj. When they saw the word song being so monster, their eyes flashed. Such a big man is also relatively pure. Such a censors feed that guy, 10 or 8 each. The eyes of the two divine people at the foot of Yanyan song were narrowed, and the people who came to each other with one eye, and one of them didn't hesitate to sing in the song. He wanted to sing down the song, and then pull it back with another shot. Today there are fewer and fewer ascended people. In the past, people from various ethnic groups in the God realm will take turns waiting for those ascended in the ascension pool. Now they can't make ends meet, so people of all ethnic groups will privately send teams to patrol around the world. The ascendant will immediately take it home. This can be regarded as a disguised battle. The two men who came this time are not the same race as the two little fairies on the ground, and there are still old grudges between the two races, so there is no intention to save people. They even thought about taking away the words before the two little fairies woke up, so as to avoid much trouble. But obviously their ideas are about to fail. The manic fairy spirit in Yanj's body overflowed from the body, forming an invisible tornado storm around him. The immortal spirits of these two men just touched, as if they were stuck. They can no longer be shaken off, and the immortal spirits in their bodies were quickly sucked away at this moment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 911. The tornado storm around Yanj is getting more and more violent and getting bigger. It hurts so much, she feels that her bones are broken into pieces, and she is going to hurt. It hurts too much. I really feel faint. However, Kei Yangwen kept biting her. No matter what the outside world is, even the pain of the whole body seems to be tearing and burning, only a little bit, guiding the spirit of the fairy. The chicken's sharp voice sounded like a magic sound, and it never stopped. This sound is like the background sound of a song at the moment. If she could, she wanted to keep screaming. But not really, all her mind is in those fairy spirits in her body. The host's body went all the way to the status of God Sarang, and it was considered to have been polished and polished. In fact, If these ascended men can soak themselves in the water in the spiritual pool to adapt themselves to the new environment after the ascension, their cultivation is not even better than those of the gods, but they are also better than those of the ordinary people tough. But the people of the divine realm did not give them this opportunity. Fortunately, the 4 people who are now planted on the singers are ordinary people in the clan, otherwise they would not come out to do such patrols. Therefore, although Yanj smokes too much at a time and is difficult to digest, it does not really reach the realm of explosive body. After all this night, when Yanj finally freed his mind, he got himself into the crack of space. This place is still safer. In such a place, Yanj has no need to worry about being touched by porcelain again. The meridian was torn and expanded a little bit, and the bones seemed to be broken and remodeled. The pain is swallowing Yanj all the time. Yanj does not know how long the time has passed. She only knew that every second was a torment to her. Normal people would become numb after the pain, but the more painful the song became, the clearer it became. If it weren't for a tree that has gone through millions of years, with the mind of a normal person, she would never be able to persist to the end. In the later period, the meridians were expanded and tempered, which accelerated the absorption of the fairy spirit. After the immortal spirit in her body was completely taken as her own, Yan Song left the crack in the space again. The chick reminded her, "You better stabilize the realm first. This kind of demon technique, if you are not careful, you will go into magic." Yanj sneered, "How can I be obsessed with magic? I do not know if it's because she has practiced the evil devil's crooked path." When she asks the chick, her lips are slightly upturned, and the evil spirits in her eyes are let out. The whole momentum looks trembling. The chicken puckered his lips, and even if Yan Ji could not see it, he rolled his eyes. "Isn't your green hair your obsession?" Survival in Yanj insurance and was won by her own gambling. Now is the time when the spirit is intoxicated and self-intoxicated. The chicken said this, and thought of the feather duster that was lying on top of her head, and it was like a balloon. Just poke like it, and instantly stunned. Hemp eggs, which pot is not open? The partial chicken did not stop there, and continued to poke at Yanj's heart. "You have changed from such a towering tree to the current small bean sprouts. I don't believe you can't be obsessed." Yanj interrupted it decisively, "What about that fox? I have good news. I'll tell you after 20 comments. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 912. As long as Zhu Wei is summoned by her from the system space to the plane, she will be automatically contracted into her contracted beast. As long as her mind is moved, the guy will appear in front of her because it is a contracted beast and can also communicate with the mind. You can even sense where that guy is. But now she's lost touch with that guy. What happened? The chicken is also extremely puzzled. Can the system give away something? Regarding Zhu Wei's lost contact, the chicken was obviously more sad than Yanj. "Mama, this guy also said that he would be my younger brother in my life. Where did he go?" Yanj pondered for a moment. "Maybe this plane is special." "Chicken, special is really special. The fairy spirit in this plane is very strong. Even I can refresh myself in the green hat system." At the end, he sighed again. "Ma, he's so scared of death. He shouldn't be dead." The words cannot be answered. Probably there is something in the ascension that can be captured by the natives of the divine realm. Soon after the song was out, 2 more divine realms appeared on her side. For these people who have captured themselves as cattle and horses, Yanj is really ruthless. She can just experiment with advanced exercises on these people and raise 2 hands in front of her. The 2 hadn't responded yet, and they were sucked into words after being convulsed. It was a second, and even the words were frightened. Words of song, this exercise is really evil. With a little bit of her heart, she can people into dryness. If it were to specifically, would it people into powder? Although Yanj has collected countless exercises, it is really the first time to practice such a domineering demon. Staring at the two men in front of me, and feeling the immortal spirit in her body, Yanj suddenly felt that her current body, or more than a dozen people like this, could continue to advance. The cock's voice sounded faintly at this time, "Would, you are killing innocent people. The wish of the host is just to let you communicate the things of the gods to the lower worlds of immortality, not to let you send the whole person they all suck." Yan Ji heard the words thoughtfully. "I think your proposal is good." The chicken was stunned, and the round eyes that had been stared at by it turned into round eyes. "You don't really want to all the people in the world into it, do you? You know you are like this. How much cause and effect will you carry?" It didn't wait for the song to respond, and said angrily, "You have to kill all the people in the realm of God. If you haven't left this plane, maybe you will be chopped into by the heavens, a little spirit. The kind that doesn't stay, you never want to become a towering tree again." Yan Ji was silent for a moment. "Will I kill the one who should kill? Would the dog bite someone else, can you bite the dog? These godly people treat the ascendants like this, although sadness is not a good thing, but you killed them for this reason. What do you and them do? The difference? I tell you the would, you do'nt think right now. Do you know that you are being eroded by demons? You have to calm yourself down." Yan Ji did not respond. Her slender eyes narrowed into a line, and the next moment, she slightly tilted her head and tilted to one side. The void in front of me looked like a wave of water, swaying slightly. A man appeared in front of Yanj. Chapter 913 After Ascension. In such a hot day, the man turned out to be a pure white fox fur coat. The fox fur coat almost wrapped him from his neck to his feet. The fur of fox fur is soft and rich, and its color is smooth. I don't know how many fox fur coats I made of fox fur. Yanj thinks that if Zhu Wei is here, maybe he will be mad. Although he was wearing a furry fox fur coat, the man was very long and his head was a very striking bald head. So this fox fur did not grab him at all. Instead, his features pressed down his almost reflective bald head. The men's features are very delicate, but although they are delicate, they have no attack or lethality. His features look more like a painting in the smoky and rainy landscapes of Jiangnan's landscape towns, which are obviously hazy, but teach people to be attracted to the sight and never look away. Of course, there is another reason why you can't look away, that is the invisible coercion on the man. The man glanced at the two dead bones next to Yanj's feet and was about to open his mouth. Yanj had already asked him curiously, "Your head is smooth and you don't even have hair follicles. Is this born bald?" The man hasn't glanced at Yanj since he appeared, and trusting the blessing of Yanj, he looked up and stared at Yanj. Yanj looked at him calmly. Speaking of which, although the man's eyes seemed calm and unhappy, there was always an illusion that when he stared at the man, his scalp and hair would burst. Probably, was he jealous of her dark and thick hair? Yan Ji felt a little sympathetic to him when he thought about it that way. He squinted again at his head shell, which was as bright as a light bulb, and Yanj asked him, "Would you like me to teach you a secret recipe for hair growth?" After a pause, he added, "It works well in general, but I don't know if it will work for your head." After all, there were no hair follicles in his head, and even if he wanted to grow his hair, he couldn't find his eyes. So for a moment, Yanj felt that this person was more sad. The man still stared at Yanj. Poker face. After being interrupted by the song when preparing to speak from the beginning, the man could not speak again. This kind of discourse is really beyond the cognition of Yanj. Yan Ji didn't care about this, and consciously added a ufa to her superiority. She was willing to give up her status as a bald head. In fact, the secret recipes for hair growth may be more troublesome. The easiest way is to wear a wig. Yan Ji stared at his facial features for another minute. If you wear a wig, too long hair may be blown off by the wind. Your facial features are beautiful, except for long hair. All other hairstyles should be. I can hold it down, but I can buy a few more wigs for short and long. As a tree that has been plagued by baldness for a long time, and has been plagued by it for a long time, Yanj has a deep feeling for things like baldness. Naturally, the guys in front of him are classified as fellows. After that, she patted the man's shoulder. Don't stand stupidly, hurry up and buy some wigs. Then, curiously, he said to himself, I don't know if anyone sells wigs in this place, and those wigs may be made of animal hair. This wig should be done with confidence. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 914. No pollution, no additives, and you can make whatever you want. Much better than buying. The man's body moved slightly. Maybe he wanted to avoid Yanj's hand, but he didn't avoid it, so he was patted on the shoulder. When Yan Ji saw him still, he asked, do you want to wear wigs first, or do you want to try my hair secret recipe first? She collected so many hair remedies that it was really useless. I don't know how it works. Saying the words of these words, my heart was about to move. Seeing that the man didn't respond, Yanj stared at his thin sloppy lips, and said to himself, it won't be dumb. After being bald, the man was given the dumb name. The man didn't answer, and with his eyelids falling down, he felt like he could withstand more language than he knew. Yan Ji took a few steps forward and waved at him, go. The man followed silently behind Yanj. Yan Ji asked him as he walked, the sun is so strong, does it hurt your head? Is sunlight related to headaches? Does it matter? Men have been confused from the beginning of their words. He still couldn't respond to this question, so although he wanted to prove that he was not dumb, the man remained silent again. Yanj regarded him as a little dumb, and did not expect him to answer. After speaking, he reached out and took off the feather duster stuck in the bun, and then extended the handle of the feather duster into a circle, and then said to the man, come, head down. The man looked blankly at the words, of course, and the singer's root was no longer a feather duster. Probably because she speaks in a different tone than others, and the words are very novel, so the man subconsciously lowers his head. Yan Ji also wore the circle in his hand on the man's head at this time. The size of the circle fits just above the man's head. A foot of green hair stood on the top of the man's forehead, and the green hair fluttering in the wind covered the top of the man's head. It's so beautiful. Yanj praised his ingenuity. Proud of this feather duster finally realizing its value. Hemp eggs, she finally got rid of this guy. Seeing this guy didn't mean to run back to her head, it shows that he likes this new nest very much. Confronted by the man's puzzled eyes, Yanj said earnestly, this is my favorite headpiece called Bai Tongtian. Now I give it to you. I hope it can help you before your hair grows out. Your head shell is sheltered from the wind and rain, so you don't get sun and rain on your head. The corners of the man's eyes twitched slightly. Yanj lost the heavy pendant of feathers, and the whole head was very relaxed, so he continued to walk forward briskly. Little dumb, where is your house? The sun is so strong, why are you running out? Do you know the surrounding terrain? Little dumb, you can't speak. How do you communicate with people on weekdays? She said a little dumb, very sweet and smooth. Obviously, he had a head higher than her. The man dubbed the little dumb by the song remained silent without protest. He is powerless to speak. A gust of wind blew, and the long green hairs on his head flew backwards. There was a little green in the 10,000 white bushes. The green hairs on his head matched the white fox fur robe of his body. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 915. The man's bald head was really shiny. Men's facial features are also really good looking. Man's temperament is really indifferent. The man's brightly colored fox fur coat is also really noble. But all this added up by the man is far from the tuft of green hair on his head. The tall green hair comes with a stealing effect. The man's temperament, which was already moist and silent, was less visible under the green hair. Yan Ji went all the way forward without turning back. Naturally, I didn't realize that those places I walked behind always had spatial fluctuations. The intangible spatial fluctuations were like water ripples. They swayed a little and returned to normal the next moment. Little dumb, do you know there is a guy named Devourer here? Legends can swallow food and eat people. This time, the man nodded infrequently. Yan Ji glared at him and waited for a long time before he could open his mouth, and sighed in frustration, "You really can't speak, if you could tell me how to swallow the beast." Then she suddenly grabbed the man's hand, as if she remembered something, and asked the man with a surprised look, "Little dumb, can you write? Otherwise, you write in my palm, I ask you to answer, okay?" As she said this, she rubbed her palm with her fingers to demonstrate, "That's it?" She had a hot belly, scratching it all the way in his palm, it was like bringing a Martian, and his palm was hot. The man quickly retracted his hand, and did not know where to take out a fox fur hand cover, and put both hands in. This is obviously a refusal to write words in his palm. The partial song seems to be unknowing, staring curiously at the fox fur coat and fox fur on the man's hand. "Little dumb, how many foxes did you kill to get such a piece of equipment? Although the fox thing is very showy, it's smelly and mostly sly, but your method of covering fox skin is a bit too pretentious." Having said so much, the words of the song turned, "Where did you hunt so many white foxes? What methods did you use to hunt them?" The man. His throat rolled, but his lips remained tight. Yan Ji reached out his hand and touched his sleeve, and said to himself, "The white fox is the hardest to hunt. Can you be a fake fox fur?" The man's footsteps stopped, and at the same time, Yanj quickly took a step back. Two women appeared suddenly in the position where she had just stood. Both women wore blue dresses. As soon as they appeared, a large net weaved by a fairy spirit appeared in their hands and spoke to the song, while crushing the note, "The female ascendant found now." As soon as Yanj heard them shouting for support, they immediately understood that the pair of little fairies whom they wanted to meet for the first time did not hang up, so they disclosed her affairs. Among the two women in blue skirts, one kept throwing net bags at Yanj, and the other threw a formation in midair to trap Yanj in it. Neither of them dare to make close physical contact with Yanj. In addition, they are clearly afraid of the words of the enemy. Yanj found that the most skillful move of each of the men and women of the gods is to weave the spirit of the fairy into a net bag ascending, just like fishing for fish. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 916. Maybe the previous song would try to escape, but now the word song, she really does not fear these two little girls. She reached out and grabbed in the void, and the two women who kept her distance were caught directly in front of her. The two women were frightened and pale, struggling and yelling, let me go, you let me go." Yan Gong gently performed the exercises, and the two women screamed fiercely. "That sound is better than the magic sound of the chicks." Yan Ji rolled his eyes, "I can't bear such a pain. It's too coquettish. In the future, don't let this hurt much more." At the end he raised his chin to the man again, "Little dumb, can't a woman's head be issued?" A dagger appeared in his hands, and the two women's hair were shaved off quickly. The two little fairies of Jiao Didi did not have a moment on the singer, their hair was like a dog, their faces were shocked and full of tears, and their immortality was gone. Both blue fairies were dull eyes staring at each other almost as if they were alive. They saw themselves in the eyes of each other. At this moment, the screaming was even stronger. After all, for women, pain is not a big deal, the most painful thing is actually becoming ugly. A good little fairy becomes ugly and weird. Yan Ji had just put away the hair in his hand, and there was another wave in the surrounding space. In a blink of an eye, more than a dozen men and women appeared around. The consciousness swept away. These two men and women and her two women had similar cultivation practices, and they wanted to come from nearby patrol personnel. They came near after hearing the support signal. Probably I think there are many people. These people are not shy about Yanj, and the expression of staring at Yanj is extremely fierce. When Shun's caterpillars suddenly wanted to bite back, and the people in the gods didn't take Yanj at all, instead they felt that Yanj's behavior was to die. A man headed by a man replied, "I advise you to be good at it, or you will die." The words are silent. The villain died of too much talk, and she was too lazy to talk nonsense with such a guy who treated her as a bull. I sucked at the skills of the two women. In the screams of the two women that can tear through the eardrums, the singer Yi-song cast aside the two women, and his shape drew into the crowd of more than 10 people. While harvesting their hair, they sucked half of the energy of these guys. In fact, there are many of these people. If they really fight with Yanj, although Yanj can win, it will never be as easy as it is now. But these people have been comforting for too long, relying on their natural cultivation, and never put those who are as incompetent as caterpillars. And neither of them has much combat experience. It's just a piece of loose sand. In the eyes of these people, the ascendant Yanj is like a docile sheep with a horn that can put people to death. Although they were flustered, they felt that no matter how bad they were just a sheep, and they couldn't and did not dare to treat them. When things happened, because they neglected the enemy, and because of the helpless panic in the face of this situation, naturally, their positions changed, and they became cattle and sheep to be slaughtered. But in a short while, all of them were screaming with pain. Yanj eats too much at one time, and the fairy spirit of these people does not belong to one attribute. Many messy fairy spirits enter her body, and she is also uncomfortable. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 917. But it's far worse than the pain during the first meridian exercise. So Yan Song frowned slightly. Ignoring the blood overflowing from the corner of her mouth, she suppressed the pressure of the riotous fairy spirits in her body, and then she raised her eyes, looked at the man, smiled brightly, and offered treasure. "Generally, I found a lot of hair, find one somewhere, let's go for a wig." The man did not respond, his eyes fell on the corner of Yan Ji's lips. From beginning to end, he stood there like a background board. When Yanj was fighting with those people, he didn't even raise his eyelids. Obviously white, and a cluster of green on his head was very eye-catching, but those people did not notice him. Yanj has quickly walked in front of him, holding his hand. "Little dumb, you are so lucky. I just thought about making a wig and I don't have any materials. Now that's all right, there will be a pile of materials in an instant." The man did not break free from the words. Her lips were stained with blood, and her rosy lips became more red and charming, just like the fresh red fruit dripping, which made people want to taste it. He had retreated his gaze, and the body instinctively digested her words. No one had ever said such an interesting word to him, so the strange idea just now was quickly forgotten. Yan Ji has just eaten so much that she hasn't fully absorbed the spirit of the fairy in her body, so she is very low-key, and she does not talk about her own breath. Even the clothes on her body are moved at will. Changed into a fairy skirt. Seeing the man surprised to see her, Yanj explained, "You still have to keep a low profile when you go out." The two did not sacrifice flying instruments, and just walked forward. Seemingly slow, but just a blink of an eye, the two have gone a long way. I do not know how long I have been in such a deep forest or old forest. During this period, not only have I never seen anyone, not even a bird or beast. Yanj was surprised. Is there no bird or beast in this so-called divine realm? There is no noise in the woods, which is really creepy. The man who was called to be a little dumb by the words of course would not respond to the problem of words. Yanj found a tall and big tree, sitting on the rough top of the tree, shaking his feet and beckoning to the man under the tree, "Little dumb, you are afraid of dizziness, come up together." Behind the scenes, Yanji did not care anymore and still stuck the man under the tree. She finds the materials she needs from those mustard spaces of her host. The slender white and tender fingers are like 10 elves who can dance in the sun. The materials that should have been trained into weapons were rubbed into various shapes by her under the fingers, but she pinched out a moment. A few crochet. The crochet was ready. Yanj took all the hair out of the collection and placed it on a spiritual artifact she had sacrificed according to color classification. Dust removal method was used on these hairs several times. She didn't choose the hair carefully until she had cleaned these hairs and did not feel a little bit of others. "Little dumb, what color do you like?" "There are yellow, red, black, and white. This white is a good match for your clothes. Why not have a white wig first?" The man who was screamed as a little dumb by Yanj stood at the bottom of the tree for a long time and fell silently on the trunk of Yanj's side. He also sat there learning about Yanj with 2 legs. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 918. When Yanj was talking, he looked down at the bottom of the tree. When he turned around and saw the man sitting next to him, his face was slightly startled, and he laughed randomly. "Little dumb, you look so quiet." When she laughed, her lips were red and white, her eyes were curved, and there was a shallow dimple on her cheek. Obviously not a beauty, but she looks beautiful when she laughs. The man was not affected by the sweet words of Yanj at all. After glancing at Yanj, he stared expressionlessly at Yanj's fingers holding his hair constantly. Even when she was talking, the movements of her hands did not stop. "Those hands are so smart." When Yanji saw him, he said, "The aura of the gods is strong, and the water and soil also support people. These hairs have good toughness. In fact, the white hair is too monotonous, but the red is too gorgeous. The best look is green. When I meet someone with long green hair next time, I will make a green wig for you." At this time, the corners of the man's lips were unmarked, but immediately returned to normal, and it was almost imperceptible. Yanj bowed her head and concentrated on making wigs. Although the top of the tree is thick, there are thin branches and leaves on the top. The afternoon sun was dazzling, but the green leaves softened those rays, making the light and shattered through the cracks in the leaves not so dazzling, but giving the illusion of quiet years. The man has been staring at Yanji's hand. A white long hair wig, a red medium foam face wig, a yellow burst short hair wig. Different colors were made into different styles. Not to mention, she also made a colorful wig with various lengths of excess hair. It was getting dark, but there was a night pearl on the table with a wig covering it. It didn't take long before daylight again. Waiting until the night came again, Yanji finally finished all the wigs. Yanj moved the table with the wig in front of the man and looked at him with a treasured look. "Which one do you like? I'll try it on you." Of course, I don't plan to wait for the man to respond. After all, this is a little dumb. She picked up the nearest white wig at her head and put it on top of his head. "I'll try each one for you to see which one looks the best." Yanj first helped the man to take off the baitongtian worn on his head, put the wig on, and put the baitongtian on again. "White and green are perfect." He pulled out a mirror from the mustard and placed it in front of the man. Yanj said with pride, "This wig is worn on your head like it really is. You with hair look really fairy. Oh, my craft is too all right." After speaking, he took off the white hair cover and wore another yellow, red, and colored one. Yanj found that no matter which color was used, it matched the green bitone with no slight contradiction. The color green is really versatile. After all the wigs were worn over the man's head, Yan Ji asked him, "Which one do you like to wear?" The words were tangled and said, "I think anyone looks good." "I don't know which one you want to wear first." "Which one do you want to wear first?" The man seemed to be out of the sky all the way, and when Yanj was about to reach out for the colored hood, he quickly raised his hand and pointed at the white one. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After My Death, the Villain Blackened Again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 919. I also think that white is best matched with a little dumb. Yan Ji smiled and frowned happily, while helping him wear a white wig. He said, "Little dumb's vision is really good." After she fixed the wig for the man, she put Bai Tongtian on his head again. With Bai Tongtian helping you fix it, you are not afraid that the wind will blow your wig away. The roll of the pro-sun looks very big. Yanj rubbed the green fur on the chicken feathers, and rubbed the man's white hair again. Oh no, it was white hair. It feels good. Yan Ji said this, grabbed the man's hand and put it on his hair. Little dumb, you feel it fast. Is my hair feel good, or yours? The man's hand didn't move. She grabbed his wrist and touched her hair twice. How's it going? This time it was too much sacrifice. As soon as Yanj was about to throw away his hand, he realized that the man automatically put his hand on her head again, and then slowly touched down. The words creepy are actually most appropriate at this time. Yanj's hair was about to burst. She was afraid she couldn't keep it up, so she stood up and stretched a lazy waist. When weaving those hairs one by one, she also neglected the immortal spirits in her body that were always violent. Her hair was woven, and the fairy spirit in her body was cleaned up. This feeling of physical and mental well-being made her feel that she had seen freedom, equality, hope, peace, friendship. Jumping on the branches and doing a few stretches, Yan Ji turned his head and smiled at the man with a smile. Little dumb, I'm leaving. She handed a jade bamboo slip to the man. There are many secret recipes for hair growth in this. You can try it after you finish. There will always be one of thousands of methods suitable for you. He pointed to the top of the man's head again. Bai Tongtian is my favorite tiara. You should take good care of it and don't lose it. When your hair grows, you don't need it, you will remember to return it to me. When the evening wind blows, the man's long white hair slightly sways with the wind. His words reach out, and a strand of white hair is entangled in his hand. Your long hair looks so beautiful, and you don't know the hair that grows on your head. What color is it? After a pause, he looked at the sky and said, I really have to go, little dumb, goodbye. After speaking, the clothes on his body turned black, and the whole figure looked forward, as if integrated into the night, and no trace was visible at all. As soon as Yanj left, the man standing in place, his face gradually seemed to be invaded by the cold. His expression became colder and colder, as if the ice scum could fall out of his eyebrows. He raised his hand and tried to remove both the wig above the head and the green hairs, but he pulled out the green hairs a few times. The green hair cover seemed to be integrated with his head. At the end, his scalp was hurting, but the cover didn't move. The man's twinkling eyes slammed the direction in which the song left. The cold in the eyes was gradually filled with killing intention. His lips moved slightly, his low voice with a strangeness that did not fit his whole body's aura. A rare magic repair. Guess, if I eat her, can I get you off? At the end, a low, but extremely whispering voice was scattered in the wind. Want to kill her? Dream. After My Death, the Villain Blackened Again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 920. The white figure disappeared out of nowhere in the next moment, and the surrounding space fluctuated slightly, and for a moment, a cry of a bird sounded in the dead forest. The sound of the bird broke the sound barrier. After that, the sounds of birds and beasts came one after another in the forest. Yan Ji has been walking a long way. Before he knew it, he was sweating. She called the unconsciousness. After a long time, the cock's voice sounded extremely weak. Huh, it's terrible, what a thing. Laozi was almost annihilated by this broken system. If it hadn't been shielded quickly, this system would have to be scrapped. Yanj, it's too strong, I can't do him, I always feel that he's holding his neck around, and he will die anytime, anywhere. Chicken, this plane is a bit dangerous. Can I refund it now? Yan Ji has lived for 10,000 years, and this is the first time that he has told the chicken to return the order. It was not her cowardice, but she felt the danger in front of the man. It was a real danger, and the danger of her being alive again when she died. Animals and plants have a strong sense of danger. As now, the cub and Yanj had the illusion that the guy was pinched in their hands at the same time. The chick was silent for a moment. No. After a pause, he said, no, I have to block the connection with you immediately, and that guy noticed me again. Before the words are finished, the induction between Yanj and the green hat system is gone again. She pursed her lips and walked forward. The thoughts in my heart seemed to be rolling and couldn't stop. What is this man? She couldn't see his body clearly, and now absorbed the skills of so many people in the divine realm. Even if the slightly more powerful divine realm was in front of her, Yanj was confident and able to fight. But in front of this man, she didn't say anything, she didn't do anything, and she didn't let go. But she seemed to be choked by this man all the way, and she would squeak her neck at any time. Even the chicken can feel the horribleness of the man in the system, which shows that this man is powerful. What is it? Yanj has experienced many planes, so I know that these small worlds are also graded. For example, the small fairy worlds where the host was before, although they are also ranked according to rank, but each one is considered a low world. The divine realm where the host is now considered a higher world. But such a high-level world song has not been there before, and she has never seen a terrible existence like a man. After Yanj walked hundreds of miles in the dark, he finally saw a city. This city is not so much a city as a fortress. The walls are thick and tall, and there are layers of protection enclaves outside the walls. It's not like defending the same kind, it's like defending the devouring beast that can only swallow the sky. The devastation of devouring beasts in this plane is really surprising. Yanj could not enter the city. But she has the memory of her host. When she was thrown into the carriage before, the carriage went out of the city. As long as she is squatting in this place, she should sooner or later encounter the kind of carriage that pulls the ascendant. Yan Ji had a certain heart, so he found a grove and meditated on a big tree.